I feel like we are the creators and directors of our own life. Just do what you want and you can write your own story. So don't be afraid to do something. And if you want to be something, just fight for it and work for it and just believe in yourself. And then I really believe if you have all these things together, then you can achieve everything you want in life.
Welcome to Sphera Cast. I'm your host Christian, and today we're here with striker of Excelsior Rotterdam and also the Tunisian National team, Sabrine Ellouzi. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being here.
I'm very happy to have you here, especially after you told us your story and everything that you do outside of football, also being an entrepreneur. So great to have you here. Let's start very quickly with your last game, right? So recently, 2 days ago, you had a game. How did it go?
It went well. The result was good, I think. We won 0-2 from AZ. They are new in the competition this year season. It was a friendly match for our preparation for the season. And I think the game went well. I scored 1 goal, so for me as striker, that's good.
That's always good. And do
Yeah.
you feel like the team is already prepared for the new season, or are there a couple of things that maybe you have to still work on?
We're working. We're not where we want to be, but I think Friday we make a big step, and yeah, we have to continue work, but I think we will get there.
Amazing. Perfect. So now deep diving, of course, more into you. Let's go back in time. Who is Sabrine?
When I think when I was a young girl, I feel like I was quiet and shy, but I loved to play football already then. Um, I was a happy little girl, but I was shy. I can remember that, and I feel like when I play football with the kids, I was another person. I was still a little bit shy, but I was like another person.
So since you were little, did you know already that you want to become a professional football player? Or was it like more with time that you really realized that you had a talent, right? Or was it like since you were a little girl, I want to become a football player, doesn't matter what my talent is?
No, the first thing I wanted to be was a pilot, actually.
Okay.
Um, but when I get a little bit older, and I was always playing on the streets, that's where I learned to play. That's when I realized I wanted to be a professional player. And I can remember that my dad, he bought me a shirt from Fernando Torres. He is my idol. He still is, but he stopped, of course. And I can remember I was playing with myself on my own on the grass, and I was just kicking the ball, and I was just celebrating like he did. And that's like a tiny moment, and that's when I thought like I want to be a professional player, and never thought it would be happening, but
And now
yeah.
you're here. So El Nino Torres is,
Yes.
yeah, was your reference. Nice. So we have spoken, of course, a lot about football, and we have spoken about some challenges that you have faced as a female footballer. Can you share some of the challenges you faced and how you've overcome them?
Um, the first thing which is coming up into my mind is the first time I got rejected, and that was for the national team of under 19 for the Netherlands. Two players had to, reject it for the group for the Euros at that time, and it was me, one of the two. And yeah, that was the first time that I had to deal with rejection in football, that the coach thought I wasn't good enough. And at that time I was 17 or 18, so you don't know what's happening then. And yeah, it's hard, but yeah, you cry a lot and then you have to keep going. And then I think dreams, that's where my dreams started, because I didn't had any chance to play a big tournament, and now I can because I play with Tunisia, and that's why I'm so hungry to play these tournaments, because inside of me there's still a lot of pain a little pain of that. And that's why I'm so happy I can play these tournaments now.
Amazing. So in a bit, we will deep dive a little bit more
Yes.
into you playing for the national team of Tunisia, which is amazing. But now we want to know more about you as an athlete, right? So how does your daily routine look like?
Yeah, we train in the morning every day. So I stand up at 7.
And that's with Excelsior,
Yes, it's with
Rotterdam.
yes
Yeah,
with my
yeah.
club Excelsior, and I take always a cold shower every day. It's cold, but it's good for me, and I feel good when I do that. I take my breakfast, go to the club. We have training at 9. Then we finish around 11, and then it depends. Sometimes I have to study, or I have an appointment for food by sub, or I do have lunch with friends. It depends. So yeah, it depends on what I do in the afternoon after that.
Amazing. And then, yeah, you already started talking about you representing the national team of Tunisia. The last game you played with Tunisia was against, yeah, Senegal. So I imagined as a player there can be a lot of pressure representing the national team. How do you prepare yourself mentally before going to the big games, or let's say to a big, uh, yeah, a big tournament?
Yeah, I'm like a very emotional person. I told you like before we just record this. I feel like I always do what's feeling good for me, and I always be very focused. And I think a strength of me is that I know where I want to go, and I I feel like it's a privilege to play for the national team, and I'm so honored to play for the national team. And yeah, I just focus on myself, on my teammates as well, but mostly on myself, what I eat, the rest I take. So I have to feel good. Then when I feel good, I'm playing on my best.
Amazing. And then, as you mentioned, when you were in under 19, you were rejected for the under 19 national team of the Netherlands. Now you play for the national team of Tunisia. When did Tunisia come calling? Was it also for the under 19, or was it mostly for when when you were older?
It was in, I think, 2020. That's when I started having contact with Tunisia. It was actually a funny story because I got called up for the Moroccan national team. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they called me. They called my coach, my former coach in FC Twente, and they wanting me having a camp with them. And then my coach from Twente called me, and he was like, "Yeah, Morocco called." And in that time, in the same time, I had a little bit contact with someone from Tunisia. So I was like, maybe he's like thinking it's Tunisia, but he is just saying the wrong country. And then I said, Tommy Stroot, it was the coach in that time. Said, Tommy, I'm Tunisian, you know that? And he was like, yeah, it's Tunisia. And I'm like, okay, yeah, then I want to go, of course. And then in 1 minute later, he called me back, and he was like, it's Morocco. And I said, I can't play for Morocco because I'm not
I
Moroccan.
was about to say, like,
Yeah,
not even like
no,
nothing.
zero.
You have not
So
even okay.
not any chance. So that's a funny story because they wanted me so bad, and the only most important thing I don't have is nationality.
Yeah, that's
That's
what to
funny.
say.
But I got in contact by Instagram. It's funny as well, I guess. It's like by a page who is scouting players who playing abroad but have the nationality of Tunisia. Um,
Wow.
so then, the person behind the page, I still don't know who it is. He wanted to bring me in contact with the coach, and in that time I couldn't speak Arabic, like only hello and how are you. So my dad had to do the call with the coach, and he called, and we felt good about this. And then in 2022, I went for the first time. I didn't know what to expect. It was just an adventure. I didn't know what's going to be. And we played 2 games against Morocco, and that's when my Tunisian national team journey began.
And how was the feeling just like wearing the jersey, right, for the first time?
It
Did
was
you
so
feel a lot?
special.
Were you very nervous, like the first game, or were you like prepared that no, I'm prepared for the game?
I didn't know what to expect, actually. It's just a culture shock every time because it's Africa, and I just thought, okay, just let's see. Don't have any expectations. You will see and just play and show yourself. And yeah, when the national anthem, yeah, sounds, then yeah, it's so beautiful. I always almost had to cry.
Wow.
Yes, it's because I'm always thinking of then that my family is like kilometers away from me, and I'm just standing somewhere in Africa by myself playing for national team, and all my friends and family are in Holland, and that's yeah, it's so special.
That's amazing. So, how much pressure do you actually feel when you had to, for example, represent your country for the first time?
Actually, it brings a lot of pressure with you because you want to make a whole country proud, and you want to make everyone you love proud. So yes, it brings a lot of pressure, and I put that pressure on me because I think I can be on my best then. The game you said against Senegal, it was a chance to go to the World Cup. Actually, we could been there, um, but we lost by penalties 4-2, and I shoot one penalty. I scored, but that was like, if you talk about pressure, it was like insane.
But so, if you would have won the game, you would have gone to the World Cup directly, or did you have to play more
Yeah, we
qualification?
had to do another qualification with all the teams from the whole world and continents. The game before the game against Senegal was against South Africa, quarterfinals African Cup. We lost 1-0, and we deserved more than 1-0 lose. And that was the directly ticket for the World Cup. So it was in my hands, but yeah, not so close.
And they were there, eh? South Africa.
They
at the
were
World Cup
there.
now.
Yeah, when I talk, I get goosebumps because it's still that's why I'm saying like it's my dream to go to the World Cup, and yeah, if I go to the World Cup, I quit.
No, but you still
But
have
that's
time.
that's a joke.
You
Yeah,
still have time. You're
yeah, we
gonna
have
be good.
time. Yeah.
And then, of course, then how is the support from your family members and also the fans? Right? Do you receive a lot of DM messages with encouragement during the tournament? Do a lot of people reach out? Do you get a lot of calls?
Like to start with my family and friends, of course, they are always behind me, and they can watch most of the games, and yeah, it's so nice to know that they can watch because the first game against Togo at the African Cup of Nations, I scored 2 goals, and I came back in a hotel at 1 or 2 o'clock in midnight, and I called my parents, but they were asleep because there was a time difference as well. But they saw everything, and it's so nice to know that they can be part of this a little bit, even though it's like far away. But they support me like, yeah, the best they can, and yeah, they love what I do, and they are behind me and my family in Tunisia. Because I have family in Tunisia as well, they support me as well. And talking about the fans, they're so supportive, and they are always encouraging us and believing in us. And yeah, I got a lot of DMs when I played with the national team, but I think that's so nice of them.
Would you say that your first time representing Tunisia was like the best or the most memorable football experience you have had? Or was it the 2 goals you scored against Togo? Or which would you say was like the most memorable football experience you've ever had?
Like, I have many, I guess, because I played against Barcelona one time for 15,000 people. In that time, it was a record. I became 3 times champions of the Netherlands, so I can not. These are all 3 important to me.
Was this when you were playing at Twente?
Yes, yeah. But the national team is coming, right? Yeah, it's coming then, and the whole experience to be part of this team and to be able to travel to countries you will never get. It's so special. I've family in Africa now, and they are all my sisters, and we are family, and that's a feeling I cannot describe. It's so special.
That's amazing. So explain a little bit more. So you said you played in front of 15,000 people. That was versus FC Barcelona.
Yes.
And this was when you were playing for which specific club?
FC Twente in that time, yeah.
And there should have been a lot of pressure on the field, right?
Yes. I came from the bench, and I was young. I was 18 or something. I was like one of the youngest players in that team. And I know I couldn't eat before the game. I was so nervous. And yeah, it was insane when the coach told me to come. You can, go in. But it was the heaviest 10 minutes I played in my life, but it was also one of the most beautiful 10 minutes of my life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's very nice. And thanks for sharing those amazing experiences. So let's talk about more the mental side of football. An example, Dele Alli, right? So he was regarded as one of the biggest talents in football, and personally, I thought he was going to be the next big star. And then he started receiving a lot of criticism by the fans because they thought that, yeah, he had a lack of discipline, or maybe he did not have enough hungriness for football. But there was something even worse playing in the background. So there was recently an interview that came out where he was saying that he was molested when he was a child, but he never really shared it with more people. So he waited about 20 years, let's say 2 decades, to decide to go to rehab, which I think is very late. And now having a professional athlete sitting in front of me, I would like to ask, your perspective on the importance of mental health in football.
I feel like it's so important to be mental stable and in balance. And I think it's coming up now because mental health in general is a big topic now in the community. But I feel like we can improve this because when I told you about my rejection, I only had my parents and my friends to talk to them, but no one teaches you how you
Should, let's say, react to these kind of situations.
Yeah, exactly, and how you can progress this for yourself. And I think when you learn this at a young age, then you get prepared already for some things, a challenge which is coming, because every athlete, experience challenges, I guess. So yeah, in my perspective, it's very important. I have a mental coach. I talk to him many times because, for example, last year I'm a striker, like I told you, and I didn't score for a while. Like I never experienced that, and I'm a very experienced player now, and I didn't score for a long time, and it was between my ears at a point because I was like, am I not good enough? What's wrong with me? I was insecure, but he told me things and tools. He gave me tools to just focus on other things. And then the last competition game at my against my old club, FC Twente, in the stadium where I played against Barcelona, I scored my goal. Wow. So yeah, I think it's very important, and for me, it's helping me a lot in my in my career as an athlete.
That's very interesting because we also had a talk with Julie van Bennekom about having a player care officer at clubs. Let's say when you were rejected, you did not have, let's say you had your parents, of course, family, but let's say maybe the club didn't have a specific person that was able to, support you during that time. And it's very interesting that, we spoke about it, that clubs need to kind of invest more in this, especially in the youth.
I think it's happening more now. I think the big clubs have a mental coach in their organization now, and the youth players are get help with how you handle situations. But that's from the time now, and in my time we didn't have that.
Yeah, amazing, good. So we're going to the right direction, but it has to go quicker.
Yes.
Amazing. So now let's talk about the entrepreneurial side of Sabrine Ellouzi. So you also have a company called Food by SAP. I would like to ask you, how did the idea start? And if you can explain a little bit more about Food by SAP.
Actually, it's just a bridge to mental health because my mental coach and me, we were talking about what I want to do after football, after my career. And I've got a huge passion for cooking and healthy food. And then I was like, yeah, but I want to make an Instagram with all my recipes, because many people, sometimes I post something on my story in that time, and people were reaching out like, can you give me the recipe? And then I was like, oh, maybe I can make an Instagram account, Food by Sap, and then put all in one Instagram, and they can just take what I want. And that's when I started. I was talking to Robin Joostens, my mentor coach, and he was like, just write down what you want and make a mood board. And then I just did that, and then the idea came up, and now it's a food blog. It's with recipes on my website. I do workshops now. I give lessons to students about like being working in the business side, but also as an athlete. So I just combine everything, every subject, and I just hope I can just give them a little bit, some tips to, have a better lifestyle.
Amazing. So this is something you would like to also focus more after your career.
Yeah.
And now you're playing, of course, professional football. You're doing this on the side, but in the future, there's something you want to focus on.
Yes. 100%.
I know you want to focus on a lot of things, but this is one of them. Amazing. So we were looking on the website. We saw there were more than 35 blogs, more than 71 recipes on your website. You've also uploaded recipes of other famous football players, right? Can you name a few of them?
Yes, I've got many friends who are playing also on a high level football. So I've got Renate Jansen playing for FC Twente, former player Kika van Es. She played for many great clubs. I got Gio Roord, and I have many players who just send me a recipe, and I just made it.
Okay, perfect. No, I mean, the people that are watching can go on your website and look directly.
Yeah, sure.
All the players. Amazing. And what is your ultimate goal with Food by Sap?
I just want to have, in the future, when I ended my career, I just want to have a nice and great platform where you have videos, where you have maybe a podcast, where you have just workshops still, the recipes, the website. I just dream big, and my biggest dream is to have like a little tiny cute restaurant.
It's amazing that you can align, right? Because Food by Sap is focused on healthy food. You're a healthy athlete, so there's kind of the connection. Yeah. And amazing, you have to just continue doing it. But if I think of it, you play professionally, you run the food blog, you also study.
Yeah.
How do you manage so many things at the same time and perform at all of them good? Like, how do you do that?
I just have to plan so, perfectly, because otherwise it's going to be a mess. So I have a strict schedule which I follow. I have to say that my study is going slow, but I feel like I have to do it. I have to finish it, and I'm happy when I have my school finished. I will be very happy, actually.
One less thing to focus on.
Yes, because I'm already like studying 5 years. But just because of football and the busy schedule, I cannot do it any faster. But I'm happy when I finish that. So I just have to plan everything very strictly. But I think if you like what you do and you know where you're going, you will be disciplined enough to do everything.
Amazing. And then now, finalizing the topic of Food by Sap, I want you to share memorable experience you had with Food by Sap. I think you've had many of them, since you've been in contact with a lot of people doing many things, writing so many blogs and also creating so many recipes. But there should be probably one or a couple of memorable experiences that you have had.
I feel like the most memorable experience was with you. You were with me. It was recently when we had the photo shoot, and I met Herman de Blijker, like a chef, celebrity chef from the Netherlands, and I was in complete shock when I was eye to eye with him, because he is like just an example for me how maybe I want to be, and he is just, yeah, he owns his own restaurants. He has many television soaps where he was in. So yeah, I think that one was very special to have.
But it's very crazy, right? So there was an initial plan to do it somewhere. It did not. It ended up not happening.
Yeah,
You ended up at the doorstep at that restaurant, and then you met Herman de Blijker. So that's crazy, right? So
yeah,
you could have also thought of, um, yeah, you had planned everything, and then other people did not. Let's say they weren't there, for you to
yeah.
be able to complete,
True.
let's say, the plan that you had. But in the end, you found a way, and then this happened, right? That is,
Yeah, it was just insane. It was like a little movie for me because we just went to Goud, the restaurant of Herman, and we were like, okay, we just go and we will see what's happening. And then they said yes, that we can do the photo shoot at their restaurant. It was insane.
nah, that's amazing. No, but thanks for sharing. Thanks or good to know that that was one of the most memorable experience you had
Yeah,
with Food by SAP. So let's talk more a little bit about women football, right? So, as someone that has been so much involved in women's football for the last several years, of course, you as an athlete, how have you seen the sport evolve and grow over time?
yeah, I think the sport grew a lot in the past years. There is now more money. It's more getting more professional. But I think there's a long way to go to if you want to compare it to other countries like England or Spain or like France. I think we're not there yet. But I hope in the future we will get there.
Amazing. That's great. And then you see also a lot more people are talking about the World Cup now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I really noticed this compared to 4 years ago. Yeah, not a lot of people were really looking at the Women's World Cup, but it's amazing to see that how it has been growing over the years, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's more popular than ever, and I think we deserve the attention it gets now finally, and I think it can be more. But yeah, the World Cup of shocks, they say this World Cup, because big teams are out already. But yeah, I hope it's getting better every 4 years and every year. Yeah, with attention.
What do you think can be done to further promote women football from your perspective, let's say, as an athlete, right?
Yeah, I think if you want to make the level higher, for example, in our competition, you have to have money. Because for now, like the top four, they have money, but the rest is like average or low in money. And if you want to have a quality high league, then every team should increase their money
Yeah,
because they can just have better players, they can be more professional. Because now many players have to do like school or work, not because they want, because they have to live. Otherwise, they can't live from
definitely.
football. And if you talk about how we can make it more like visible, then I would say like more on social media and like marketing wise, we can improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will say investment into
Yeah.
women's football, and also
Yes.
probably investment into youth or girls football, let's say, right?
Yes.
Because if there's gonna be more focus in the youth, yeah, you will definitely have then more better players, and then yeah, it will then grow over
Yeah.
time, let's say.
Sure, and I think the girls who are growing up now, like the real young girls, they really can say, I want to be a professional football player and just be a professional football player and not having to work or. So I hope in the far future that little girls, the new generation, can be like a real professional athlete.
Definitely. Amazing. And looking at this World Cup, right? So there has been three African countries that moved into the round of 16. So you had Nigeria, South Africa, and Morocco. If you compare that to the last World Cup in 2019, there were only two African teams. So the African teams are doing better,
Yeah.
let's say, with time. So how do you see women's football developing in African countries? Let's say just looking at the World Cup now, right? Is there more focus?
Yes, there's more focus, and I feel like the African teams they improve also, not only physically but especially like technical, because you saw Nigeria they really play good football, and yes they are very physical, but they also play very good. They played very good, and I'm very proud to see these three teams, even though I wanted to be there as well. But if I see like Morocco, they all the three teams they play with their heart, and they can be proud, and I think whole Africa is proud of them.
And then the next World Cup will be Tunisia.
I really hope that.
For sure. So now we're going towards the end and the final part of the interview. So I would like to ask you maybe an advice or a message that you want to share, with your fans and supporters who really admire you as a professional footballer or as an entrepreneur. Any advice you want to give, maybe to young girls watching?
I feel like we are the creators and directors of our own life. Just do what you want, and you can write your own story. So don't be afraid to do something, and if you want to be something, just fight for it and work for it, and just believe in yourself. And then I really believe if you have all these things together, then you can achieve everything you want in life.
Beautiful words. So thanks a lot for sharing your insights, experiences with us today. It has been a pleasure talking to you. But if people want to find you online, what's the best way to find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Sabrine Ellouzi. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. And recently I have TikTok as well, so you can find me there too. Yeah, and you have my website, of course, so foodbysap.com.
Perfect. All right, so that was it for today. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.